I have gratitude. I'm in a 12-step program. I don't know which one it is, but I'm in it. And around 2 years ago, I was in a movie called The Birth of the Nation. Has anybody heard of it? I played a white, heterosexual Christian plantation owner in 1831. It's called acting.
Welcome to Meet the Biz. Today, we have one of the funniest men alive. He has performed at clubs like the Laugh Factory. He's been in movies like, oh my God, Big Gay Love and Birth of the Nation. He's really hysterical. Every time he's on stage, I can't stop laughing. And if you've never seen him on stage, once we get out of this pandemic, you gotta go, and it's gotta be on your top 10 list. Here he is, Mr. Jason Stewart.
Well, thank you very much. It just seems like comedy is so not a part of my life these days because of the pandemic. It seems like it's going to be a lot safer to go back to work as an actor than it is a comedian. So, because it can be more of a controlled environment,
Yeah, it's so it's really a Twilight Zone episode.
Oh yeah, and one that just won't end.
Well, hopefully very soon.
I'm hoping it's like an anthology that just, I'm in every episode.
Oh
God.
Wait, the dreams. It's like every night I look for, I wonder what I'm going to dream tonight.
I've been having trouble sleeping, honestly.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Nothing can help you with that?
Well, a little PM Tylenol, a bit of my mother's sleeping pills. A Jewish woman living downstairs who has a medicine cabinet of drugs that she's had since Donna Summer was on the radio.
It's like a little chicken soup and a pill.
You know what's interesting is that you describe me as this laugh out loud comedian, and it's so funny. In my mind, I don't see myself that way at all. And I know that people do, but I don't. I see myself as a character actor.
Yeah.
And I see myself as the stand-up is one element of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have over 150 credits on IMDb.
Yeah. Wow. It's interesting. I had somebody who was my website guy. We were putting together a new website for my new series, Smothered, on Amazon.
Yes.
And the website is smotheredtv.com. If anybody wants to see it. And and he said, I just noticed that your IMDb, because he was looking for links to put on. He says, you've been in over 150 film and TV shows. I said, yeah, I guess so. And he says, we should put that on social media. And I said, no one's going to care. And, almost 600 people liked it. And I thought, well, that's weird. So you just never know what people are going to be, how supportive people are going to be of you. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know where it's going to come from. I'm truly surprised all the time.
Well, yeah, and the thing is with you, I mean, about Smothered, by the way, I love it. It's hysterical.
Well, I'll tell you what it's about. It's about these two men who have been in a relationship for over 30 years, who hate each other, but yet can't afford to get divorced. My co-star, my co-writer, my co-creator, my co-producer is the lovely and talented Mitch Hara, who asked me to do it a year and a half ago. And I did not want to do it because he drives me completely nuts, like any comedy team. And I thought, I don't want to get involved in all this crazy drama. Then he introduced me to the director, Terry Hanover. And she's so nurturing and so kind. And I had just a couple requests. I said, number one, this has to be good. I'm not doing it unless it's good. Number two, everything is 50-50. And number three, we don't do anything without telling each other. Yeah. And both of us have pretty much lived up to that. So.
Well, what I loved so much about it too is it's so therapy sessions. And
it's a number of therapy sessions until they get into trouble, and then they go to IRS and a mediator and try to rob a bank, and so the first 4 episodes are all therapy.
Yeah.
And wonderful, wonderful guest stars. We have Helen Hong from Silicon Valley. We have Pancho Moeller from Ray Donovan. We have Dalila Alairaja from Criminal Minds and all the Shonda Rhimes show. We have Erica Irvin from American Horror Story. We have Clint Bowers from Broadway, from Cats. We have Scott Krinsky from Chuck. We have Carol Eda White from Laverne and Shirley, which a lot of people. She's sort of a Hollywood royalty. Her father was Jesse White, who was the Maytag man in all those commercials.
She was on a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
It was
And
hysterical.
she would talk like, darlings, this is so wonderful. She'd say, this is so, well, you need to call Andy Cohen. Call Andy Cohen. He will love this. And I have his 800 number that people call, and he has never returned a single call that I've ever called him. And
Andy needs a spanking.
well, I'm slightly in love with him. 'Cause I'm daddy and I have candy, so he needs to do that.
Oh my God. Well, and Carol made me propose to her on air. So
Oh, honey. Well, that would have been a complete marriage that would have ended in divorce. It'd be like, I don't even want to use the references of Ernest Borgnine and Ethel Merman. It'd be a page in your biography that was just one page and nothing would be on it.
oh my God. Well, by the way, Ethel Merman, used to be Zimmerman.
Oh, yes.
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 I don't think she was related, but you never know these days.
There's something I'd love to talk about because this class that you teach is for how would you characterize it?
Well, Meet the Biz is for all actors. It's actors with
Okay.
and without disabilities, and it's all about
The
bringing
class you teach and the class that I once did a teaching class with.
Performing Arts Studio West, which thank you for that. That was a wonderful workshop that you did. I mean,
Yes, and I enjoyed it immensely. And what I loved about the class is as I related to the idea of being different. And a couple of days ago, I read an article in Deadline that was written by Mike Fleming Jr., who's a longtime journalist. So God bless Mike for writing this article with Billy Eichner, Billy on the Street, Difficult People, Lion King, all these wonderful movies and television shows. And I actually did a comedy music video with him a number of years, 5 years ago. It was a Taylor Swift parody, and I played his older boyfriend in it. I forgot what song they were parodying because I'm not a big Taylor Swift person, so I don't know her career really well. But nonetheless, they were interviewing him because he has bought the rights to a biography on Paul Lynde called Man in the Box, and he wants to play Paul Lynde.
Oh, I saw you posted that. Yeah.
And he's creating his own opportunities this way, as he is with the feature film that's being produced by the incredibly talented and funny Judd Apatow, who I was lucky to work with on his TV series Love. And what was really great about the article, we're 20 years difference in age, and he said things in a way that I've always been somewhat ashamed to say because I'm always afraid of seeming too self-serving. And being a white, gay Jewish man, even though being a Jew, I don't really consider myself white. I know that sounds strange, but being a child of a father of the Holocaust, you don't feel that way. And being a gay man of a certain age, you certainly don't feel that way. But I do understand, the white privilege that I do have because of my skin and what I look like when I walk into a room. And this article was written under the idea that gay men who are not overtly masculine don't seem to be treated the same way as straight men do who are. And the idea that we don't get to play our roles, it happens so much. And certainly, I'm a character actor. I want to play all different kinds of roles.
Right.
And I am certainly an artist first.
Well, I mean, look at Birth of the Nation. Completely,
Yeah, and it didn't seem like a stretch to me doing it. Yeah. The stretch to me, honestly, was starring in Hank, the little film about the gay couple. And I played this very sweet, shy, quiet man who was in a relationship with another man who didn't want it to be an open relationship. And that was a harder part for me to play. But it was certainly a wonderful experience. Directed
because he was more reserved?
Very reserved, very quiet, not a talker. I had the director cut out almost half the dialogue because I wanted to, and I worked really, really hard on that. And I didn't see that. I saw that film as something that was more away from who I am. Not that the plantation owner, what he does is who I am, but the character, the guy was boisterous, he was funny, he was aggressive in manner, he was tough, you know, and more of my personality traits.
Yeah.
Certainly what he did, you know,
Yeah.
is not anything to do with me. But in this article, Billy talked about the details, the complications of out gay men being able to play other parts and move to the next level in your career. As casting directors put together lists, and he was doing this movie, a gay love story that he wrote that I was up for, and there was lists of gay actors to play gay friends in it, but none of the gay actors were on the list to play straight people, but the straight people were on the list to play gay people. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Because I've been talking about this for years, and most people look at me like, oh, you know, bitter grapes on my part, or, you know, we're actors, we play all different parts. This isn't a problem anymore. We've moved to the next place. And I don't think we have moved to the next place in terms of equality. We've moved to the next place in terms of opportunity. Yes, a lot of us, and I'm a lucky guy, no doubt about it. But, you know, that I've been able to move up the ladder in show business and work with some great people. I played a detective recently in a film called Abducted that's now on Showtime. I'm playing another investigative private detective in a film called Immortal.
If you just wanted the address, you wouldn't have called me. You could have got the address with a couple of clicks and $20. I guess the word information means different things to different people. You should hear my voice now. Is it coming through okay?
Well, that's terrifying.
Put it in your contacts with a name that you're going to remember. So when it calls, you'll pick it up.
What else do you have that I might need?
I have everything.
Breaking even's hard enough, but getting ahead's impossible. So to save some, I cut them back to a meal a day per head. Now, a few of them started getting fidgety, so I had Abner come down on them. Abner here, it's my only real protection. Now, they needs to mind me. You speak on that. They treasure in heaven from submitting and all. They gets to moaning or carrying on. You don't pay them no mind because they're lazy as all hell. They do anything to get out of work. You ready, boy?
Have you seen my glasses?
They're over there on the dining room table. I put them there for you.
Gio's gonna be here any minute.
Actually, I was thinking when I woke up this morning that maybe we could have a conversation about it. I know that I'm fat, I'm old, and I'm bald. I believed in you. I didn't do that because I had to. I did that because I loved you.
The Journal of John Dee.
John Dee?
Yes, Queen Elizabeth's most trusted advisor, if you believe the legend, the royal court sorcerer supreme.
Right.
Scholars have been searching for this for centuries, only recently unearthed this in London. Oh, best keep this secure.
Come on, so we were never each other's biggest fans. It's not the end of the world. But what? But nothing. I didn't know what to do with you. You couldn't throw a bull to save your life. Spent all that time alone in the goddamn basement. What the hell were you doing down there?
I'm a writer. This is Detective Finney. They've taken a couple over to St. Joseph's around 15 minutes ago. One of them's in critical condition. That's all we know for now.
Do we have any units over there?
2.
We should get their statements ASAP.
I think Officer Manriquez is getting the statements from the neighbors. I'll have him go over right after.
Who you hiding, huh?
Ella Fitzgerald. She knocked him dead at Apollo Amateur Night.
Yeah. I bet.
No, she's a singer.
Oh, maybe you should give her an audition then, huh?
Chick.
You gotta book me some bigger venues, Mo. My band's as good as anything out there, Negro or white.
Bigger venues won't happen with Linton as a singer.
Forget about the singer. It's the band that counts.
Still the know-it-all, huh, chicken? Let me give you my take on this situation here. When Linton sings, dancers stop dancing. When dancers stop dancing, booze stops pouring. Maybe I didn't make myself clear when I hired you, huh?
Time is constant. It's people that change. So here we are. Let us begin. This is going to hurt. Just a little.
And I've been able to get these parts, but most of them are independent films. Most of them are not at the same money as my straight counterparts who are playing them in mainstream films or on television shows. When I do get on a TV show, it's usually a cable show or a pay-per-view show, getting network television guest starring roles or moving to that next spot. You know, Birth of a Nation was 4 years ago. You know, I in the last 5 years, I've guest starred on Love and Real Rob on Netflix.
Right.
Sleepy Hollow, it's been 6 years on Fox. You know, I'm talking about big shows. Not that I haven't worked a lot, but you're not treated in the same way. Your celebrity is not treated in the same way. You're niched. And the same thing happened to me as a comedian. Certainly, I was the circus person who came to town, and I was able to do that. But some people would literally say to my face, we don't want to make this a gay club. That's what we're afraid of, you know.
Well, it's so interesting you're talking about this, especially with the disability community and the disability community breaking through and getting other roles, not just putting it into the box.
Right, not just being an extra in the background with someone in a wheelchair or, you know, that kind of a thing. And I think, you know, Jamie Brewer certainly has broken that, winning her Opie award and being on American Horror Story, and I think 3 different seasons, I think
3 or 4.
3 or 4, yeah. And I think she has certainly broken it. And I feel like I've broken the ground in a lot of ways, certainly for openly gay comedians, certainly for character actors on a you know, mid-level kind of, you know, my book, my autobiography is calling Coming Out in Hollywood and Making It to the Middle, which was my stand-up special. And my lecture is called Coming Out in Hollywood. And this book really tells the idea of where I am, and I'm in the middle. I'm not really, really famous, and I'm not really, really a nobody. You know,
well, what I'm laughing too is I love the
title. Shut up, I'm talking.
Because whenever I see that and I hear your voice doing that. So
well, I see it's my mother's voice. It's not mine. It's my 83-year-old mom.
By the way, I love your mother. I met her.
Of course you do, because you don't have to live with her.
See, that's that funny man that I like. You're brilliant.
What I was saying about that, the idea, this article so touched me. And I think it's time, you know, it seems like things have to go in interims, and they have to, you know, do that. And then I guess my question to people is, and I would love to hear back from people, so go to my social media, go to jasonstuart.com, STUART.com, go there, and let me know what you feel about this. I'd love to know that on any of my social media. You know, when you break the ground, do you get to walk on it? Do I have to disappear? I mean, Paul Lynde broke incredible ground in terms of being as gay as one could be without saying the words or being specific. And if it weren't for him and Charles Nelson Riley and Rip Taylor and all those people, I would not be there as a comedian. And certainly people like Harvey Fierstein and other people who are not out, who did character roles that I would love to do. I remember Harvey Fierstein being in Independence Day. I was like, oh my God, he's in this big action movie playing this mama's boy, you know, and I would love to take that to the next thing and be a detective, be in somebody in a film, in a mainstream film, be able to be the dad, the straight dad or the gay dad, if they don't think I can play that.
Well, you can play both. You have played both. And, you
know
what's
interesting to me is that when I did your film, thank you very much for saying that, I'm interrupting you. When I did your film that you cast me in Big Gay Love, Drew Droege and I played husbands, and you had him play the more aggressive, more I would call the more alpha guy, and I was the more you know, wifey kind of guy. I was the more female counterpart to that. And I remember, I think about that because and when I got it, I think, what, is he nuts? I'm a lot more macho than Drew. I mean, you know.
Right. Well,
And
I have to say, I mean, of course, I brought you both in, and I have to give that to the director
because it
because
seemed like to me that they switched the parts
they
in order to make it more interesting.
we did, and Ringo went after that, and it was brilliant, and it
Well,
shows.
I was very proud of that because I got to create all this character that wasn't on the page, and Drew was just a joy to work with. We had such fun.
Yeah.
So
And-
the hair people tried to ruin his hairstyle. I want you to know that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I
He had
didn't.
a hard out because he was doing a play. Of course, I had nothing going on.
Oh my God. You know, I'm going back to something that you said about your father being a son of someone who was in the Holocaust.
Not the death camps, but in the ghettos, in the farms, hiding in the farms, hiding from the Nazis, in the attics, in the basements. I mean, definitely his whole childhood running. He had knee problems his whole life because of that, because he carried his brother.
Well, it's so interesting because half of my family, especially my grandma's sister and half of her brothers and her mother, my great grandmother, were killed. In
My entire family, except for my grandparents, my uncle and my dad's uncle, were murdered.
But it's so amazing how people like Dad didn't exist and this and that, and it is interesting in getting to the creative beings that we are. How a lot of quote Jewish comedians are Jewish. They're comedians. Because they go to the.
Well, that was a job that we were allowed to do. Like gay people were allowed to be hairdressers. In the comedy in the 40s and 50s, there was the Chitlin Circuit, and then there was the in the Hills. What was it called? The Hill, Dirty Dancing. There was two circuits. There was a Jewish circuit and the black circuit, and that's all there was. Very few white comedians. The white comedians were in vaudeville. And it wasn't. It was a job that you were allowed to do.
Do you think though it's something about that comedy from the pain?
No, I think yes, in a sense, yes, but it's an old adage. I think nowadays there's tons of the beautiful girls doing it and handsome guys with great bodies and all sorts of people are doing comedy.
Yeah.
And the people that run comedy at Comedy Central are incredibly ageist. You very rarely see anybody who has my modicum of fame that are on that show or invited to be on things. It's very, very few gay people.
Well, you're talking that ageism just blows me away because.
Well, that's our new thing now. As we get is that our group of people, we're not ready. Our counterparts were ready to retire. I'm not ready to retire. I still think I have a number of wonderful parts still ready to be done in me for the next 10, 15 years.
Well, look at Mel Brooks. I mean, he's up there, but he's still, brilliant.
In his 90s. Yeah, he's finally slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Before that, in his 70s, he was in the 80s. He was doing Broadway, writing Broadway shows and guest starring on TV shows. Same with Carl Reiner.
Well, who of course just passed, and Norman Lear, whose birthday it is today. Of course, not the day that we're showing this, but but what is he?
Olivia de Havilland just has recent Regis Philbin. God, he was 88. She was 104. John Saxton, God bless him. God, he was so handsome. Oh my God, he was one of the Universal players, I think, at Universal in the days when the Universal people were allowed to have those contracts. And I remember when I was a kid in the 70s, really wasn't the 70s, because that the 80s when I really that was the end. I really so wanted to have a contract in Universal so I could work. Yeah. And then you hear Olivia de Havilland talk about how she changed everything so she didn't have to have that contract. Well, she was a big star, but right now I would love to have a contract with the studio so I could work. I mean, I really feel like I'm ready to do my best work, and I want to find the way to move to the next level in my career. As I did with Birth of a Nation, I moved up, but then you move up 10 spots and you have to go back down a couple. Whereas I see my straight counterparts, they don't have to do that as much. You look at
that. How do you do that? If somebody's getting...
How do I do what? Say it specifically.
How do you get to, if you're telling, if a student asks you, how do you get to that next level? How do you?
Well, I'll be totally honest. I think I talked about this in your class. I had read in the Variety that they were doing tax breaks all over the country 10 years ago. And I started getting agents all over the country because agents and casting directors here would not see me for anything other than funny gay parts or prissy managers. And so around 10 years ago, I started doing that, maybe 12 years now.
Yeah.
And I got an agent in New Orleans, Brenda Newstatter, and she completely didn't care, did not care. And she just said, well, this is a good actor. She looked at my reels and saw things. And I started doing independent films and short films and things and web series where I could show them different characters. And I would insist on doing different characters than the one I got it. And I would go in there and do different things. And I just kept auditioning on tape. I started auditioning on tape in like 2010. So I started doing that. And I finally got this. I got three different roles. I got Love is Strange on tape out of New York. I got Sleepy Hollow out of South Carolina or North Carolina, can't remember. And in Savannah, Georgia, I got Birth of a Nation.
Yeah.
So I got 3 really great things. Certainly they're very, very protective in those areas in the South over their own people. They want to hire their own people in their own state. They want to support their own actor community. And you know that going in there. You're not going to be first on the list. You got a couple marks against you. But they're more open about seeing you for different parts.
Right.
And the market is smaller, so a good actor will rise more. So I say to the people, get good.
Well, you're so good at that, is getting yourself out. I mean,
not really. I mean, I people say that, and I love being an actor. So I also, when I got off the road 10 or 12 years ago, I'd been headlining comedy clubs for like 25 years. I went back to class. I worked on different characters. I worked on guys that talk like this, and then I guess they're in the closer talking like this, and I worked on people that talk like that, and I worked on people that move their bodies different and changed the tone of my voice. I wanted to be someone else. Yeah. I mean, my voice dropped. I worked 10 years in dropping my voice.
Really?
And changing the way I speak. Yeah, because my voice, if you look at me, go to my website, look on the stand-up page, you'll see me on Star Search. My voice was so high.
Yeah.
I was so nervous, and it wasn't appealing. And when your voice is, hi, how are you? You know.
Yeah.
And when I did Hank, because I played someone who was that, I made my voice a little higher up.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you think about that when you act or when you teach someone.
Yeah, well, it's also the feeling. Sometimes it's the outer, and sometimes it's the inner.
Yeah, I remember Carol Burnett saying on her show, I would get a costume, and that's how I would get the character. Yeah. And I remember seeing her first dramatic role in a movie called Pete and Tilly, and she doesn't think she was good in it. I think she was.
Love that film.
I thought she was great in it, and Martin Ritt directed it. Boy, oh God, he was such a great director. He directed HUD and Norma Ray and Nuts and Murphy's Romance and Sounder, and oh my God, I would have killed you and 2 other people to work with. He's passed now, but there's so many people, and that's what I really love, and that's what I want to do. Yeah. Is that I mean, if I had my druthers, I work in film and television and do interesting character roles, supporting roles, and I'd be funny on talk shows. That's
now. Here's a question. Well, here's a question too. If there is one person that was dead that you would love to work with, if they were still alive, and also one person.
Oh, honey, one.
I know there's billions.
Come on.
But first person that comes to your mind, one dead, one alive.
Brando.
Yeah.
Because what I've heard from people is that he was so incredibly giving to other actors, you know. And I've got to, I mean, I could give you a list of some of the really big, wonderful stars that I've worked with, and just the kindness and generosity was always large.
Yeah.
You know, I would also say Paul Wingfield. I thought he was, I'll still never forget him and Cicely Tyson in Sounder. It's one of my favorite movies. And just, oh my God, extraordinary performances at the height of their abilities. Just, it was so simplistic that, you know, I so try to do that. I had an audition the other day on tape for a part
But I had to do a guy who talks like this. He's a big, burly kind of guy and talks like this. And he say, David, you're not to come in this house and speak to Madame. She's not here. And I did, it's just, they wanted a sort of Euro accent. So I did a sort of Polish thing, Russian, that I've done before that I knew I could do well. And it was really, you don't want to move. You don't have to move. I have this face, this head. Why do I have to move? Who are you? Who are you to me? And I've been, and people say, how do you get your character? Well, I practice them in movies. I did this in a movie called Trio that was supposed to go to Cannes because of all this. It didn't go, I think. And I only had like 5 lines. It was a short film by this kid, Jake Hunter, that produced it. And these guys who were influencers who wanted to do something with meaning. They found a script that had won all these awards. It was this black comedy, and I play the 4th lead in it in a way, and I play this guy who talks like this, and he says, are you this way? Yes. Why are you do this way? Don't do this, don't do that. And I wore glasses. I don't know if they're here, but I wore some glasses, and I wore a big coat because it was New York, and I barely moved, and I talked like this. And so he's a brother of this other character that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, and it's like the character in The Closers went on to do Warren the Ape, and then he went up to do Tangerine, and I move them, and sometimes they're cousins, and sometimes they're the same person or brothers of the person. So when you're not a leading actor, you don't get to play parts that are in everything, And until I started doing movies where I had more than one scene and realized I didn't have to do everything in one scene, I was really great at that. And now I get to come back and do more. I did another film, a TV show called Swedish Dicks. It was 2 seasons on Pop,
yeah.
right after Schitt's Creek. And Peter Stormare starred in it. You know him from all the Coen brother films.
Yeah.
And John Wick films, and he's so funny and so great, but he's scary looking, and he's the goofball, the biggest goofball. And Keanu Reeves had an arc on the show because they were friends, and I played a congressman named Oscar Bustamante. I think I was half Cuban in it, and then I get to the set, and the guy says to me, the director says, "Can you do a Cuban accent?" And I went, "No." So Keanu Reeves starts the scene with me, and we do a rehearsal, and he told, how he is. Hey, so he talks like this. I said, I'm gonna bring my other guy and give a growl to my voice. I'm gonna talk like this. And this is who I am. This is what you did for me. I want to thank you. So I can play these mafia Don guys now. So that same character that was sort of this guy that talked like this on The Closer, when he was very upset, this was his cousin, who was a little more of a tough guy. So I brought him in, and I sort of boxed him up a little.
You are mesmerizing. I'm like, the word, that's the word that was circulating. And just listening to you, I could just sit and watch you and go through all these voices that you do.
Well, I just I love what I'm doing. And it's
not just the voice, it's the connection that you have to it. It's the energy from your whole being that you put through. It's all connected.
Even in Smothered, I was going through a breakup with a boyfriend when I had just broken up with someone when we wrote it and when I did it. And I played a guy who just, and his voice was a little higher, and he would see, look at my hands. Immediately I was like this all the time. And, and I was sort of, Edith Bunker was sort of coming through me, because Mitch Hara plays a real abusive guy, and I play a real victim guy. So we're an incredible combination comedically, in the same way Sonny and Cher when they were on their show, or Abbott and Costello on theirs, or, are these great comedy teams. Certainly, I don't know if we're close to those brilliant people, but that's what I strive to be. And my whole body, and I wore, things in sweaters and things that were tight, and, just, I don't understand why you're acting like this. And, all of a sudden it became, the things came to it.
Right.
And I can't tell people, I'm so proud of this series. Please go to smotheredtv.com and watch it on Amazon. Please review it. Let us know what you think. The more reviews we get, the more chance that Amazon will buy the series and not just basically show what we did. They give us a half-hour version. And then if you want to know more about me, buy my book, Shut Up, I'm Talking, on Amazon through CCB Publishing. Also, you can get that through my book, jasonstewart.com. Is it backwards to you?
No, it's perfect.
Oh, okay. jasonstewart.com.
and let everybody know this is how I make my living now, basically hawking this book. I was so lucky to get this deal last year, because we're not making much money right now.
Right.
And today's the day they drop our unemployment. So,
Today?
yeah, they want to give us, I think, $200 a week instead of $8 because we're making so much more money than we used to make. They don't want us to.
One question.
Do 50 questions.
What makes you laugh?
When I don't see the joke coming. I like comedy that comes out of character. I can tell you the things. I remember Shirley MacLaine in Terms of Endearment when she was looking at Jack Nicholson, who lived next door, and she opened the Venetian blinds and she kept going down and down, and then she fell on the floor, and it just made me laugh because, I didn't expect that coming. I love things like that in anything. If I see, being a comic, if I see a joke coming, it doesn't make me laugh. I go, oh, that's really funny. We don't laugh at that much. What made me laugh out loud? Oh, God. Who makes me laugh out loud? I would say Lily Tomlin always used to make me laugh out loud. She was so brilliant in her stuff. I remember she did a film called The Late Show, directed by Robert Benton, who did it, I think, right before he did Kramer versus Kramer. And she was so funny in it. Her stuff. And if you listen to her albums and go back, oh my God, she does this bit where she plays Ernestine, who works for the phone company, at a company meeting where they're discussing the play they're going to do on their off time, and she creates the characters without even you seeing her or hearing them.
Yeah.
She'll say, okay, this is what we're doing, Phoenicia, and I can't do the accent, but this is what we're doing, Phoenicia. Phoenicia, we're going to be doing the play. It's Alexander Graham Bell, and of course, Vito, who likes me better than you, and he's so sad. Oh, Vito, come on in. No, don't put your shirt. Don't keep it off. Keep it off. And then Phoenicia, he's not doing that. Put down the cake. Put down the cake. And she's creating this whole environment. And she did this so much on stage, and what a career, and what, 80 years old now, I think. And
seriously, she's so amazing. I remember too, I still have 2 or 3 of her albums, and I remember.
There's a couple people like John.
I'm a rubber freak.
Oh, the Rubber Freak, which basically is about pot, right? Or drugs,
right? And then I
tip off Grandmother's Cane.
Oh my God.
I listened to those albums over, and then John Leguizamo and Whoopi Goldberg sort of came in and did their spin on that, and that was wonderful. And some other people, but I think Lily was the first person to do those kind of characters where she would go in and out of them. I just loved it. Where John Leguizamo and Whoopi Goldberg would just do the characters in monologues, Lily would have them talking to each other. Which was just, and then my friend Lydia Nicole did a play. Do you know Lydia Nicole? She did a play called A Spanish Rose Lives in Harlem. It was also called Calling Up Poppy. And it was such a brilliant piece. I never understood why it wasn't people didn't go nuts and get it. And she would talk to the character. She was just brilliant in it. Just brilliant.
I remember too in San Francisco, Anne Galjour. She did some wonderful. There's
so many talented people, and then you see people that are just, I don't know. Well, comedy and acting is like food. It's like it's like a poo-poo platter. Some people like, fish. Some people like potatoes.
Everyone hates you.
Randy.
I'm Ralph.
Randy.
Randy.
He's Randy.
I'm Rand.
Can I be honest now?
Oh, it's just gonna be mean.
You've turned into your fucking grandmother.
Yentl changed my life.
Fuck Barbara Streisand.
Fuck Sia.
Your inner child is dead.
Just because I said no to the ball gag does not mean that my inner child is dead.
He could have the cottage in Big Bear.
I am not living in the fucking Doctorwood!
The IRS is suing you for $200,000.
Oh my God, I'm
so
sorry.
I'll never be able to thank you enough.
No, Oscar. Thank you.
Remember to practice your sax, Tex. Think Sonny Rollins. Will do. I don't know how I'm ever going to thank you for giving me my life back. Tex told me I could trust you, and I'm glad that I did.
It's been a pleasure, Mr. Bustamante.
What exactly is going on between you and Mickey right now? How is it?
Great. I don't know. Feels different this time.
I like hearing this. It's what I've been drilling here. You deserve to be happy. You need to feel entitled to your own happiness.
I am entitled to be in a relationship with Mickey.
Okay, well, that's your time. I'm going to see you next week, okay?
Okay.
Just a little FYI, I'm having this mindfulness retreat at Esalen next month. No pressure, but if you and Mickey felt that it would be valuable to you too.
I'll run it by her.
The meals are included in the price.
Thought there'd be more of us.
I'm also disappointed.
What the fuck, Kevin?
Guess I got more than one people too, Ahmed.
Shit, all right, let me think.
So all the gay people on this side, straight over here.
Let's go.
Hurry up.
Don't you hesitate. What are you, bisexual?
No, we're good, man. All y'all gay. You anti-immigrant,
Yes.
but pro-gay.
Yes. I'm European. We're complicated.
You guys members here?
No, we just walked in here and just decided to sit in the sun. Of course we're members here.
Okay, cool. Pretty nice gym. Some crazy pussy out there, huh? I mean, Dick.
Gotcha.
Do you shave those things, or?
Please, don't touch his nipples. We don't touch. There's no touching here. He's with me. Okay. So, oh, God damn it! I hung up on him. Hold on. Are you there? Oh, that's... Dickie, I'm calling you again. I don't know why I'm saying this. You can't even hear me. All right.
Thank you for calling.
Shut up! Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk nasty in front of my new kid. You know, I forgot to tell you, I adopted a kid, yeah. I called Madonna's people. She owns a country now filled with black kids. So I wanted one, and she got me one. I don't know his name, but I have to pay him $29 a month.
I have to ask you about one film before we leave.
Sure.
Because I saw this in the 80s on stage when I lived in San Francisco. Hush Up, Sweet Charlotte. I love that.
Oh, the play.
Well, I saw the play, and then you did the movie.
Well, these are all different versions and not connected. The movie, for those at home don't know, it was sort of the follow-up movie for Bette Davis and Joan Crawford called Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, which she'd done after Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and Olivia de Havilland and all these actors would do what they called the Hag films, Tallulah Bankhead. They all did these films that were sort of thrillers or horror films with aging actresses that were in their 40s and 50s. God, it seems so old, you know, then. And then Billy Cliff had been obsessed with these movies and decided to do parodies of them, but to do them for real.
But it was a play with Matthew Martin in San Francisco.
Right, but the play was not Billy Cliff. Billy Cliff did the film is 2.5 hours. Billy cut down the film to 1.5 hours,
right. And
he used the actual script, whereas Matthew Martin created a complete parody. It's another version. They're different writers, but Matthew Martin and Jeffrey Barlagine Merman played the Olivia de Havilland and Bette Davis roles in the other film. So, so they, same parts, different versions, different scripts. And I was so lucky, and I played Mr. Wills, who is sort of sort of dandy, a character that no longer exists. And I talk like this, and I would say, David, it's so grand to see you. I'm so obsessed with what you're doing at this school with all these underprivileged children. It's just so wonderful, and he would speak like that and sort of out of turn. And, I got to do this movie with these, Barlagine Merman and Matthew Martin. It was like being in a movie with people that were in a musical. Their comedy was almost music. Yeah. And I remember doing a scene with Barlagine, and I had not done parody before. And I got this little pencil mustache and this red cheeks, and I wore this, those suits with the stripes. What do you call them? The seersucker suits and a red bow tie, and I became this person that was obsessed with her, just totally obsessed. And I created this character that with this mid-Atlantic accent. It was so much fun. And I remember doing a scene with him, and I think to myself, Billy said, "Oh, that was great." I said, "Can I do one more time?" He said, "No, you were great." I said, "I just feel like I was a beat behind everybody because I wasn't as attuned." And I did it again. He said, "You were right. That was better." And he gave me permission to do that and play with some of the other actors in the film who were drag performers. And I never worked with drag performers before, so that was really fun.
Right.
And some of them had not had the acting experience on camera, and I had not had the acting experience doing parody. So we all sort of learned from each other. And it was really, really wonderful. And that's available on Vimeo, I think, through Here TV, if you want to watch it.
Well, again, that word came to my mind again, mesmerizing, because just the characters, when you go into them, I'm like, you suck me in. It's just like, and it reminds me of those stars that I grew up loving, Peter Sellers, Robin Williams.
Oh my God, stop. I'm going to go in the other room and cry.
No, I mean, it's really, I mean, I've known your work, but and that I didn't mention this before because it's a roller coaster ride and I love it. When
I sort of go into these, don't I?
Oh, okay, I'm holding on, and it's great. But I remember, about you going after stuff, and you said no, I don't go after stuff. But I remember I had you on the list to call you for Big Gay Love when I was casting it, and a day before. You called me and you said, "Hey, I see you're doing Big Gay Love." And it was great.
Well, you're a friend, so I always felt comfortable doing that. I mean, and that's what I would do is I would call or send an email to a friend and say, "Hey, I know you're doing this film. If there's a part for me, if not, no worries." And I would always say, "If not, no worries" at the end of things.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's okay if people don't, And a lot of times, people don't see you playing different kinds of parts because they've not seen your work. So I created these demo reels to send to people. And then I got a lot of offers from that. And you guys can see my demo reels on my website, jasonstewart.com. STU, Stu Art. Don't I sound like an old person, somebody in some sort of weird class?